Hello, welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. I am your host, Ben Ostwick, otherwise known as Biggest Bennis, if you're nasty. And joining me, the very nasty Ed Nightingale. Hello, Ed.
I always call you Biggest Bennis.
Well, anyway.
Yep.
What a start. Welcome. Yeah, this is Swapping Joysticks, your home of everything gaming, streaming, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Sega Saturn, everything you could think of. We talk about it here.
Have you ever played on a Sega Saturn?
Maybe. I think my friend might have had. He had like a Sega Mega Drive. I don't think I have actually played on a Saturn. I bet you have, because you.
Well, no, I think I have, but I never owned one.
No.
Because barely anyone did. And I skipped that and went N64, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
An interesting choice of console there.
Very much. But yeah, we're going to be talking about things in the state of play. I'm just going to pause 1 second. Right, okay, so we had a slight sound thing. I think it was clipping things, but we might be a bit louder now. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the PlayStation state of play. We're going to be talking about the Plucky Squire. And we're going to be talking about Elder Scrolls Castles, that incredible mobile game that's out.
Oh, are we?
Briefly.
Okay.
But yes, how are you doing? How's your week been, Ed?
It's been quite tiring.
Really? Why?
Well, we're going to talk about the state of play, but it was earlier this week, and it was a late evening for us. It was like 11 p.m. So yeah, it's like staying up late working. It's quite tiring, and I actually have a day off this week.
Do you?
At the end of the week,
part timer.
Yeah. So I think it's one of my first days off the entire year.
Well, you need to look after yourself more.
Yeah, I probably should. So I'm looking forward to sleeping in finally.
Yeah,
which would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, I mean, this weekend though, we have a busy weekend.
We do. We're going to a concert on Saturday at the Royal Albert Hall to watch and listen to the music of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, which I haven't finished or got close to finishing. So I'm going to be looking at the floor for a lot of it, because I did look at somebody had filmed it, so I went and had a quick scoot through, and they do show clips from the game.
Oh,
so I'm going to be looking at the floor like I did with the Elden Ring one.
Okay. Well, I can sort of nudge you if there's something that isn't spoilery or that's
Sure.
okay.
I mean, I think what they do is they play it like a bit of the game in the middle of the song. So I don't think it's throughout.
Okay.
Because I feel like Elden Ring was a bit too over the top. Like, it was literally the narrator was like being broadcast and all that stuff. And I was like, you don't need that. We just need we're here for the music.
That was extreme. I mean, the Elden Ring one was a few months ago before the DLC, and I enjoyed it because it was a nice reminder of the game, but it was literally the entire game from start to finish, like all the bosses, all spoilers, just accompanied to music, which when you finished it, you're like, this is amazing. But it was a little excessive. I thought they were just going to jump around and just play some music and the odd little clip.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah. To be honest, and they didn't even need all the sound effects for the game, because there was somebody playing it. Why didn't they just have the music and the sound effects and the voiceover? They could keep that. We're just here for the music. You can still see it and visualize it or whatever. I just didn't need the slashing sounds of a sword.
I don't remember sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like literal combat.
I mean, I was watching it. I wasn't listening for the sound effects.
Yeah. No, it was just I didn't know why you have sound effects of a game during a concert. But we'll see about this one. I don't think it'd be nice. I know that they're appealing to gamers, but it would be nice to have some kind of a video game music concert that didn't necessarily have a screen. Can people not sit and just listen to good music?
Apparently not. But I agree with you. Sometimes it's nice to go to a concert and just watch the orchestra. I feel like with classical music, with these concerts, so much classical music now comes from film and games. And that is a really nice gateway to classical music for a lot of people. And I'm very happy that exists. As someone who studied music and have been to a lot of orchestral concerts where it's just an orchestra. But I don't know. It's nice to have some of the visuals as a reminder.
Yeah, well, sure. We'll see anyway.
I will not be enjoying your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I will be doing. I'll try not to drift off. But that will be Saturday, and then Sunday I'm probably going to stream.
Yeah, well, you started Stream It Beat It.
We did, yeah, fundraising for Great Ormond Street Hospital. We raised £650 in the first stream yesterday. And yeah,
GG.
Thank you. There are lots of balloons around here at the moment. There we go. We have balloons.
Yeah. It's quite irritating.
Yeah, I popped a load of them earlier, and you look like a, kind of an abused dog with his owner's fist above it. You're like,
wow, that's a lovely image, Ben. Thanks for that.
You were shaking like a shitting dog.
Yeah, I was. Just a lot of popping going on.
Yeah. Not a fan of it. Anyway, but...
more of that other weekend then.
Exactly. We've got plenty of stuff. We've got a VR stream tomorrow. It's going to be interesting because there's some new VR games that are coming out, but none of them that were... Well, actually, I think... Was one announced yesterday in VR?
Well, we're going to find out in a minute.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think there were any that were out now in VR yesterday. I think it was just Palworld. But let's go through the games then that were announced yesterday at the PlayStation State of Play. What is the State of Play at the moment?
Well, the State of Play... are you asking what a State of Play is?
Yes.
Or okay. Well, it's the PlayStation Showcase. They have a couple or a few a year, and they show off some nice new games and show what's coming up soon.
I didn't mean that. I just was like, what is the state of it?
Well, I thought that's what you meant, but
the first thing they announced
differently
was the Astrobot Speedrun and Special Bots add-on.
Yeah. I'm less interested in speedrunning Astrobot. I might give them a go. There was a tweet from PlayStation where they showed off some of the stuff from these new Astrobot levels, and they were like, "Oh, well, the shape level's not hard enough for you." And I was like, that sounds like a threat.
But also, no, they frustrated me. I was happy when I beat them, but they frustrated me while I was playing. I don't need to be challenged anymore. I'm fine. It's like there were people... Oh, God, some of the comments... I think it's just gamers, and I should never look at comments, but they were like, oh, yeah, because that last challenge level, it was good, but it just was too short. And I was like, it was over 2 minutes that you couldn't make a thing go wrong. And I know there are people that are just weird and love kind of like the most challenging things and just play one game all, for a whole week. But I don't have time for that. I don't have the... yeah. Well, I suppose these are add-ons. They're free. You can choose to play them if you want. But I don't know. Something that's really frustrating to me is not fun, weirdly enough.
Yeah. I'm interested in the news bots that they add in because I like the cameos in Astrobot. I mean, that's half the fun.
But will you have to go and do the really frustrating levels to get them?
Well, quite possibly. And if that means getting Eve from Stellar Blade, then I'm less interested. She's not a bot that I care for.
Anyway, we'll look at... we're going to be looking at Stellar Blade later. We're going to talk about it. Because after that, well, they first announced that, and then they talked to us about, or they showed a trailer for The Midnight Walk, which is a claymation VR, or it's on PS5 and in PSVR 2 as well.
Yeah, you can choose. It's a sort of first-person, sort of horror-y type thing, but in a slightly creepy, cutie kind of way, I thought. It's the developers of Lost in Random, which was... quite well received, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, I actually really like the look of this.
Yeah, it seems like an interesting PSVR game. It was, for a bit, I was like, oh, is this like Little Nightmares? But actually, in the end, it didn't really feel too much like it. Because that's very kind of like fixed camera, platformy, puzzle type stuff, whereas this feels a little bit different. Similar
vibe, I think. Being sort of slightly creepy in a not too scary way.
Cute creepy.
Yeah, but it looks like it's first person. Hence, you can play it in VR as well, which I reckon I'd rather play that in VR to see what it's like.
Interesting. Yeah, I would find that interesting. I don't know. It seems all right.
Okay.
Next one, though, seemed a bit more interesting for me. Hell Is Us. Terrible name, but it did look a little bit Kojima-esque. The Metal Gear Solid, Death Stranding weirdness.
A lot of weirdness, a lot of weird sci-fi surreal weirdness in it. This wasn't the first time we've seen this. It was shown at a previous State of Play.
So it was shown at a State of Play, I believe,
I didn't remember
in 2022, and they said that it was coming out in 2023.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I found out afterwards, oh, it's that game that I sort of knew existed but had forgotten about.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, I thought, oh, this looks really cool, but didn't recognize it in the slightest.
No. I don't know if they've been polishing it for a while, but it looks,
I mean, I'm up for something new. Like a lot of what's coming up is remakes and sequels and things like that. So it's nice to have something that is completely brand new.
It was quite interesting. Yeah, like out of the first 3 trailers, one of them was like to a brand new game, but the other 2 were completely new IPs, which was nice. And also an IP that's not been touched for a few years, Metro Awakening VR.
Another VR game.
Yeah, which was. I'm glad that they've not totally abandoned the PSVR, and they've also had a big price cut as well.
Not totally.
Yeah, it's had a price cut as well. So if you want to play, yeah, had like £100 off. £200. I don't know. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you like Metro Awakening, if you like kind of Chernobyl-esque, if you get your kicks at Chernobyl, then go and play that.
And then take a deep dark look at yourself.
Yeah, I mean it's like underground and stuff. I don't know. VR underground is just a bit grim. Which I know above ground you have like the issues with the screen door effect. Maybe not as much, but like you can't quite see in the distance, and then it's like the limitations of the VR. But whereas when you're a bit close, when you're in like a kind of closed in area, it's a lot easier to kind of feel like make it feel more believable. But well. Then there was Arcade Chronicles or Archeage. Archage.
Arcade, I think.
It's got an E after Arc.
Yeah.
Archeage.
Arcade.
Arcage. Arcade Chronicles.
Anyway.
What's that?
I don't really know, to be honest. I might have skipped over this one a little bit.
Oh, wow.
It's it's a fantasy game.
Well done. Let's go on to the next one then.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, but
didn't you like the look of that one?
Probably. There were like a bunch of new games that were... Oh, this was the one that looked... it reminded me like a bit of a boss rush / with kind of For Honor vibes. Because it was medieval set in... Well, set in a medieval place. But they looked to be some kind of like knights and... Like, yeah, a lot of boss battles it showed. And I don't know if that's going to be, like a Wukong style. Here's a boss. Here's another boss. Here's another boss. But I'd like to see what the fantasy element of that is because it looked really, really interesting. I did quite like the look of that.
I think it's interesting. I mean, you bring up Wukong there, and I guess maybe I'll talk about that later because I have been playing that. And I think bosses are what entertain people and look more or have some spectacle around them. So I think people are interested in bosses, but just because I think a game deserves to be more than just that. So... I hope this is more than just that.
Yeah. I liked the medieval setting of it. But yeah, it did seem... Some of the fights did feel a little bit For Honor. Kind of one-on-one, similar style. But we'll have a look at that.
It didn't massively stand out for me.
Yeah. Pal World was announced. Apparently they've got the... Well, they need the money, to be honest, because they're being sued by Nintendo.
They are. Yeah, so, you played Pal World at the start of the year.
I did, and I enjoyed the 2 days I played it. It was fun.
But you're not going back to it?
No. It did feel... I mean, nothing wrong with indie, but it did feel a little bit half-baked. And I'm sure they've made it a lot better. It was early access, I mean.
That's true.
But it also, it does feel like Pokemon with guns and base building and that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I like to play stuff that's a bit more... like built from the ground up with its own ideas.
Yeah, it's kind of taking ideas from other places and stapling them together.
And not standing out too much.
Yeah.
Whereas like recently I played Pokemon. I played Pokemon this week. Did a tier or 7-star raid, terror raid, and won.
Congrats.
So I have a very high level thing. It's not
describe it to us.
It's not a Scyther, but it looks a little bit like one.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is. But I really, really like Pokemon. Pokemon Scarlet, it's like it runs pretty terribly. It looks quite bad, but the fun and the gameplay of that is there. Anyway.
Well, Pal World, so it was out on Xbox and PC at the start of the year. They've been threatening to put this on PlayStation forever because clearly Sony saw how successful it was and thought, we need that. So that is out right now on PlayStation. It was an immediate release. As part of the State of Play. However, it's not actually global.
Is it not?
No. It's not out in Japan.
Well, I wonder why.
Well, they haven't said why, but it's very obvious because Nintendo are suing them, which is because of not copyright in terms of the designs of the PALs, which is what a lot of people thought, but a patent infringement. Yeah. Which I think is reportedly to do with throwing Pokeballs to catch monsters. Apparently, Nintendo has a patent. Why can't I say that word? A patent for that, which Palworld has stolen, and that is also supposedly stolen. So that's why Nintendo was suing Pocket Pair, who make Palworld.
I wonder if they threaten them first, because can you just sue straight from the bat, or do you send them like a threatening thing and be like, hey, you're infringing, and then give them the chance to change it?
I mean, I think you just go straight in for the money, to be honest.
Yeah, because that's Nintendo. They don't have enough.
Yeah. And what I've read as well is that it's part of Japanese development culture, its studios, that they have patents for like everything. And it's never really acted upon. But I think Nintendo are using this to get at Palworld and clearly have good lawyers who think they have a case.
I wonder if it hurt them when that came out. Everyone was like, oh, wow, look, it's 60 FPS. It runs so much more smoothly than Scarlet and Violet. And, oh, I wish Pokemon did this. Yeah. I wonder if that hurt them.
Maybe.
Then they announced a game that I'd never even heard of, to be honest. The Luna Remastered Collection. So Luna 2, I think it came out on like the Sega CD and was on the PS1 apparently.
Yeah, as part of this, they were saying, 2 classic PlayStation RPGs.
So 9 and Tactics, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's thinking Final Fantasy. And they brought out these 2 Luna games. So they were on PS1. I think there might have been, did you say Sega CD?
Sega CD.
Not the Saturn.
I don't know what that is. To be honest, I don't know what Sega CD is.
That was an add-on for the Mega Drive.
Oh, is it?
Well, it was the Mega CD.
Well, let me go and see what it was on. It was Luna.
They are top-down, sort of traditional turn-based JRPGs.
Right. They have come out on
anime style.
The series began with Luna the Silver Star, first released in 1992 for the Sega CD. There you go. Okay. And was followed by Luna Eternal Blue. Both titles received critical and commercial acclaim, later becoming the first and second highest-selling games on the platform in Japan, respectively. Both games were later remade for the Sega Saturn and PlayStation, with considerable story, graphical, and musical changes. Further remakes of the game were released for the Game Boy Advance and PlayStation Portable. Spin-offs were also released, including Luna Sanposuru Gakuen and Luna Dragon Song. That's a bit easy to say. Yeah, so it came out 1992 on pretty much my birthday, give a day, in Japan. And a year and a half later in North America. And then 17 years later in the PAL region.
Oh, wow.
on PSP. Yeah, the PSP version was the first one. I love that. It's like, original release date, Japan, June 26, 1992. North America, December the 1st, 1993. PAL, October the 27th, 2010.
Wow.
Quite different.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of these games, but never played them.
And also, Luna Eternal Blue, was that the sequel?
Yeah.
That, I believe, never came out in the PAL region.
Oh.
So this will be a lot of first place. And yeah, that's going to be the first time. That's probably why I've never heard of it. Never came out.
There we go. And that's coming out next spring.
Looked quite good actually, though. You know, for if you're in the mood for a JRPG.
Yeah, I mean, it's a remaster collection. I imagine it's not
reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, it's not a huge like remake or remaster. You know, it still looks like an old game. It's just cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you've never played them before, this is going to be the ideal way of playing them. And it follows Square Enix doing the same thing, with the pixel remasters of Final Fantasy. And now they're doing it with Dragon Quest as well. I always want to say Dragon Age. Dragon Quest, which they're starting with 3, which is out pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a market for old RPGs from Japan being remade.
Yeah.
Or remastered.
Interesting. If you like that kind of game, lots of anime parts of it seems.
Yes.
Then there was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge.
Ginger Turtles?
Yeah.
But they're green.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what I used to say. Because did we call it Ninja Turtles?
We were Hero Turtles.
Were we? Was it not America that was Hero?
No, America was Ninja, and then it's been changed now, so it's Ninja everywhere. But we used to call them Hero Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Yeah, that sounds right. Why?
Don't know.
More offensive? Is it offensive?
Maybe, or it's like Ninja is a bit too aggressive,
violent. Yeah, they were heroes.
Like, no, we're Hero Turtles. Anyway, there's some DLC coming on that.
Then there's Sonic X Shadow Generations, formerly known as Sonic Twitter Shadow Generations.
Oh, very funny.
Uh-huh.
How long have you been sitting on that joke?
Just then. Just that I was quite impressed.
That just came to you at the top of your head.
Came to me.
Wow.
And they announced, they showed that. They showed the DLC pack, didn't they?
They did. So yesterday, before this, there was the Sonic Central showcase.
We didn't do a cover. We didn't talk about that.
Well, we didn't because it wasn't very good. They didn't show a lot that was new. They showed a little bit of Sonic X Shadow Generations, and there's like a DC comic crossover coming between Sonic and the Justice League.
Okay.
Which I couldn't give a flying fuck about. Just give me the games, please. But then at the PlayStation State of Play, they showed a little bit of the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie pack, which is a DLC coming to Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is all very confusing. Essentially, it's DLC that has Keanu Reeves as Shadow. And it's sort of based on the film, but not exactly. It's not like following the story. It's just, it's basically an extra level. But they're putting that out but just before the film comes out. But it means Keanu Reeves is in the game, and that's cool.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the film and the game, because you're going to teach me.
I am, and I'm looking forward to teaching you.
Yeah, it's going to teach me how to play Sonic for the first time. Then Fantasian Neo Dimension, which is already out on Apple Arcade, but it's coming to consoles, including Switch, I believe, PS5, PS4.
Switch, PlayStation, PC, maybe Xbox? I actually can't remember. It's already out on Apple Arcade. I've played a fair bit of it. I really like it on touchscreen.
Yeah.
I just think it's designed for touchscreen. The menus, the aiming of magic in combat, stuff like that. This is a game by Sakaguchi, who created Final Fantasy, and he decided to make this new RPG a few years ago, which was on Apple Arcade, and it was designed especially for that. But now, clearly, it did not sell very well because it's stuck on phones. So
it didn't sell at all if it was on Apple Arcade.
Well, exactly. So he's now paired up with Square Enix, his old buddies, to say, hey, I've got this game. Can you release this everywhere, please? Which they've done. And I played a bit at Gamescom. It was all right. I prefer it on phone.
Yeah.
It just doesn't quite feel the same with a controller. So I'm slightly less fussed by that. But it's already available. And if you're interested, then go play it on a phone.
Much better.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. The amount of phone games I need to get. Actually, that might be good because there's no microtransactions, are there?
No, it's a proper Final Fantasy style RPG,
What's it called?
it is genuinely really good. It's just this particular remake is just an excuse to put it on consoles.
I'm pretty sure I started it. What was it called again?
Fantasian.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
I've definitely played it for a bit. Guess how many reviews it has on Apple Arcade?
Maybe quite a lot.
Have a guess.
50.
Is that a lot for you?
I don't know.
I mean, if there's thousands of people that played the game, you'd expect.
Yeah, well, who bothers to review it?
Oh, 268.
Oh.
Which I find... There's a game called Sword Play Ninja Slice Runner that's got 47,000. Even Outlanders has got 647. So not many, to be honest.
The thing is that it's made for phones, but because it is essentially a sort of 30, 40-hour RPG, it's not... It feels like a more typical console experience.
Yeah.
But with mobile phone controls. So it maybe doesn't quite... I don't know. It's how long do you want to sit on your phone and play an RPG is the question. And if you tend to play your phone on the train, that's probably not the game you're going to play.
Yeah, that's true. Then they showed Dragon Age, the Veil Guard.
Yes, which is coming out on Halloween.
Which is also when...
we go to Japan.
Yeah, so unless it comes out and it runs really well on Steam Deck, I don't think I'll be playing it.
No. We've seen quite
actually,
a lot
if it
of
does
this.
come out on Steam Deck, that'd be quite a cool game to play on.
Absolutely, give it
on
a
the
go.
plane.
So BioWare, they announced it, was it a couple of months ago? I think it was fairly recently that they sort of first showed it. And they are really ramping up marketing, showing like every week there's a new something about this game. So it was nice to have it as part of this. It was a trailer against a big dragon, which was mainly showing off the mage, which is probably the class that I'll play as because I always like the mage.
It was quite cool. I just felt it was taking a while to go down, and I'm like, okay, Spongy Boss.
I mean, it's a dragon.
Are they trying to?
Dragons are powerful.
Sure. Yeah, I don't. I know people have spoken about this a lot, but like the art style just doesn't grab me. It looks quite generic. Somebody said, well, a little bit like Fortnite-y. I can't remember what somebody said it was like, but yeah. And I think it was the proportions are slightly weird. Like their heads are slightly bigger.
Slightly cartoonish proportions.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I am not the biggest Dragon Age fan in the world. I've played Origins and I've played Inquisition. I haven't played 2. And for me, I just don't think Dragon Age has quite found its place. In that, for me, it just feels like it's a fairly standard, generic fantasy RPG, which is good.
Maybe this one will change our opinion.
It doesn't quite stand out to me, the previous ones. I think they're really good at relationships and characters. And that's what, everyone loves to ride the bull in Inquisition and all that, which is great. But other than that, it just hasn't quite, I don't know, I haven't found it particularly interesting compared to something like The Witcher or the Souls games or whatever else, like that is fantasy. They're all very different games, but it just doesn't really stand out to me. What I've heard from the Veilguard is that it feels a bit more Mass Effect-y in that it's very streamlined, it's a bit more action-focused, which I'm very happy about. But again, like you say, I'm not totally convinced by the character designs and the graphics, although the hair is lovely.
I guess we will see. If it's got a really cool story, like Mass Effect, that then I don't know, could they turn it into a saga, or is it just going to be like a really good 40, 50-hour game, that you can get really deep into and enjoy the world and the stories and the relationships, then sign me up.
I will happily play it, but I don't think it's going to be my game of the year, put it that way.
No. Then, well, you never know.
You never know.
Open mind.
Very happy to be surprised, don't get me wrong.
Okay, Alan Wake's The Sam Lake House. I'm surprised he didn't call it. Surprised he didn't call it that.
I mean, that is true. This is DLC coming to Alan Wake.
Which I thought very much reminded me of Control, which obviously, it's Remedy. But the seal on the floor, is that from the Bureau of Control? Or is that in the game itself? Because I've not played Alan Wake 2, which you have.
Yes. Well, it's not really a spoiler, but all their games are connected.
I know, yeah.
They're all in the same universe.
So the fact that this has that, I'm like, is it another one where there's a very big link?
I think it will be. I mean, Control had DLC that was Alan Wake, and then the Bureau of that is the thing in Control is in Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
And so now I think what they're doing is DLC for Alan Wake 2 that links to Control, so that then that will lead into Control 2. And so they're basically using the DLC between games to link them up, is what I understand from it.
I really want to like it, and I'm so tempted. I'm like quite close. It's on my list of potential games to finish and play at some point is Alan Wake.
The first one.
I want to do Alan Wake Remastered, then Control again with the DLCs, because I didn't really love it because it was buggy when it first came out. But I think I would love it a second time, especially on PS5 with 60 FPS. Then go and do Alan Wake 2 with the DLCs, and then I think I'll be ready. So technically 3 games.
Just put them on easy mode and whip through them.
Yeah, well, I think I did.
Yeah.
I think Alan Wake 1's quite good in the fact, the controls are terrible, but they're in like short chapters that you can do in like 1 or 2 hours each.
Yep, it's quite a short game, yeah.
Yeah. So I might just shove that on really easy if there is an easy mode. Although I remember it being quite difficult anyway.
It wasn't hard.
Okay. I think just maybe the controls. I think the dodging was terrible. But we'll see, because I don't know, it just seems like I like a thriller. I don't like horror, there's jump scares and everything like that that's kind of unnecessary. But I like either a very traditional horror, kind of Resident Evil 7, where it's like a ghost house, or it's a house with a weird family, this kind of stuff. I don't like ones where, like Layers of Fear or something like that. That's not for me.
Okay.
But something that's a thriller or a very good story, then yeah.
I mean, Alan Wake 2 is very Resident Evil in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So if you like Resident Evil, it's worth giving it a go.
We'll see. And then the highlight of the state of play for me, Hitman World of Assassination, which is the name of all 3 of them now. and it's coming to PSVR 2, and it is not the terrible Quest 3 version that was made by a third party. This is all being built in-house through IO Interactive, and seems like the ultimate place to play Hitman in VR.
Yeah.
And it involves Hitman 1, 2, 3, plus all the extra little bits that they've added, because that game is great.
How vommy is it?
I've not played it.
Well, how vommy do you think it might be?
I don't think it would be vommy, because you're not kind of running and diving around. It's literally you'll probably be standing still a lot of the time waiting for somebody.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's a lot of standing around in Hitman.
Because it turns it first person, right? Because the Hitman
Yeah.
games are third person, but in VR it makes it first person.
Yeah.
So you're, garrotting people in first person with your VR.
I'm interested
controllers.
to see. Yeah, they said that didn't they say that you're going to use the controllers realistically or something?
I mean, for aiming, sure. I don't know about the rest.
No, but for injecting poison in someone's neck or something.
Oh, lovely.
That's quite cool. There's 2 different types of poison you can get in Hitman. One that makes them vom, and the other one that just kills them instantly. I love the one that makes them vom, because then they run to the bathroom,
And then you shove their
and
head
then you
down.
shove their head down the toilet, and they drown in their own vomit.
What a lovely thought.
Yeah,
And that's Ben's game of the show, everybody.
genuinely was my game of the year when the first one came out. The first one was my game of the year, and the second and third one I've only done the first mission. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. I just loved the first one so much. Like
The
the
first
maps,
one was brilliant.
The maps were incredible. I cannot wait to see Paris in first person. Well, I mean, I could do it in first person now, I think, but like Paris in VR, and then Sapienza as well. Oh, that's going to be amazing. I wonder how it's going to work, because you'd have to have really high quality fidelity. Because there's one bit in it where you can blow up a back wall and get a sniper and shoot the thing. Did you get level 20 mastery in Sapienza?
I don't think so. I did it a lot, but I didn't do quite everything.
I did pretty much everything, and I just thought it sometimes. Well, I'd say sometimes when you get to level 20 mastery and you've done and you've killed them in all the ways that they've suggested, you go holy shit, this game, the amount of detail, the amount of time they must have taken to make this game, because yeah, when you play Sapienza, the last thing that you have to do can be an hour and a half after playing, and you make your way into the house, and you kill this person, then you make your way slowly into the bunker, and then you go around and you knock a few people out, and then you have to go around, and then and you've gone to a church at one point and blown a person up with a golf ball, and chuck someone off a cliff. But then after about an hour and a half, you end up going and doing the final thing. Whereas I found out you can actually do that within 90 seconds at the start, if you know exactly where to go and what to get and what to blow up.
Well, that's the joy of that game is finding out all the little quirks of each level and realizing you can do them a lot easier than you first thought once you know the ins and outs.
Or you do them totally different. If you know about every way of killing, you can have just so much fun. And I love Hitman as well. I think it was the Giant Bomb crew used to do this, where they would draw out a piece of paper what they had to do, and it would be you have to kill this person with a rubber duck, and then you set your own challenge, and you have to go and do it. So
and now you can do that in VR.
You can. I bet Hitman would be good with crowd control, with chat. Kind of
that would be absolute chaos. Because chat would clearly screw you over.
Yeah.
And make it really difficult.
Or they would blow up the person nearest to you, or change your outfit to nude or a clown or something like that. I bet that would be good fun. Anyway,
get on it, IO.
Yeah. Then, do you want to talk about this one?
So next up was Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered, which is very much a requested game for a lot of people. The Soul Reaver game, Legacy of Kain games were PS1, and then I believe Soul Reaver came out on the Dreamcast, I think. I don't think it was PS2 though. Anyway, they are old sort of 3D action-adventure kind of games about vampires, very atmospheric, very cool for the time, showing their age, I would argue, now. But a lot of people have really, really wanted to see these games return. and they are now getting a remaster. So it's not a complete remake. It's still the old games. They'll sort of mostly play the same, I would imagine, but with some cleaned up graphics. And a lot of people are very happy about this. You're clearly not bothered.
I don't care. But I also, how much effort and time and money did they put into this? Because who is it targeting? It's targeting people with some nostalgia. Like,
this isn't for new players.
Nobody's going to look at that and go, God, yeah, I want to play that game. That looks amazing. So it's just full of the people that are like, oh yeah, we've been requesting it for ages, and they're not going to buy it. You won't even hear about it. It's like Medieval when that got announced. And everyone's like, oh my God, Medieval's coming out. The remastered Medieval. And then that was it. Didn't hear about it ever since.
I mean, that didn't do great. I mean, I'm sure some people will play it. I do wonder with this sort of remaster, because it's not a full remake of an old game. It's just sort of a cleanup. I do wonder how quickly and cheaply these things are done sometimes. And is it a case of, we can get AI now to just sort of clean up all the graphics animations for us on the cheap and then resell it? And is that why we start to see these games rather than let's have a brand new Soul Reaver game that, extends the story in any way?
It made me laugh about the AI Mario Nintendo thing, that Nintendo were using AI to find AI images of Nintendo products to take them down.
Well,
get the
we
AI
don't know if it was Nintendo or not.
Well, get the AI to fight the AI.
Yeah.
AI wars.
Fight fire with fire.
There we go. There's also, I saw that there was AI being used in like police cases. And apparently they can do in like a day, but with AI, you can do 84 years worth of work in like one day.
It's been 84 years.
Yeah. I think it was they did say 84, maybe 83.
Wow.
Then it was Fear the Spotlight from Blumhouse.
Blumhouse Games.
Blumhouse.
This is horror. Do you know what? I must have been writing something at this point because I don't remember this.
I don't really remember this either. I think I was still getting very excited. No, this was the PS1 style one.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're watching the trailer now and it looks very PS1
Crow Country. This saw Crow Country's popularity. Did they do that? No.
Did they do that? What do you mean?
Who did Crow Country?
It wasn't Blumhouse.
No.
Anyway. And that was more top down. This is a bit more 3D. I don't remember this, but it looks like an old school horror game.
Not needed.
Not needed?
No.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who are really excited about that.
I don't get this. Like, I understand the kind of the nostalgic look at old SNES games and that, because I don't know, those pixel graphics and stuff, they still work today, but like a messy, janky PS1 game with kind of weird anti-aliasing edges on everything just doesn't scream, oh, how pretty to me.
I mean, I see what you mean. It's definitely playing on people's nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia is pathetic,
Powerful.
people.
Wow.
Then there was Towers of Agazba. Or Gazba. Which was was it like a city building or tower building or base
it looks
building?
like you're sort of building bases, but also hunting monsters.
Yes, you magical creature, etc., etc. Then there was Lego Fortnite that had the ugliest controller I've ever seen.
That does look awful, yeah.
Like graffiti on a blue and black controller. But yeah, apparently there's going to be split screen mode, which will be good for, I don't know,
in Lego Fortnite, yeah.
Parents of kids, which is good. More split screen modes. Then Dynasty Warriors Origins.
Dynasty. Sure.
Is it Dynasty or Dynasty?
I don't know.
Dynasty.
Just go with Dynasty. That is the new Dynasty Warriors game. It's out. Go back up. It's out on the 17th of January, which is the next in the series of just killing lots of things with a big army.
I do wonder if that'll be PS5 Pro enhanced, because you see so many different characters on the screen at the same time.
I don't know. I mean,
nothing said that they were.
We'll maybe get to it later, but I don't know how many games are going to be PS5 Pro enhanced, at least straight away, especially from third parties. I think it's something that Sony will do with their first party games, but I don't see third party developers doing it just yet.
Yeah.
It'll be something they patch on later.
Well, Monster Hunter Wilds has got a release date
It does. I'm very excited about that. It is coming on Friday, the 28th of February. So not actually too long to wait.
No.
Which is nice. Yeah, they showed some new details in the new trailer. Some new monsters to hunt because that's what the game is about. But it's very pretty. I loved playing it at Gamescom. I'm very excited to play more of it.
In 5 months, everyone can.
Yeah.
Then there was Lego Horizon Zero Dawn. Then
Which
there were...
I'm not particularly fussed about.
No, I mean, it looks like a fun... It looks a lot... Like the tone is very much not Horizon Zero Dawn, which I like.
It's a cute kiddie version of Horizon with Lego characters, which I'm sure will have some good humor in it. And it's coming out on multiple consoles, which is a little bit odd. But there we go.
And then they announced the remaster we've all been begging for, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered.
Nobody wants that.
I do know anybody. Well, I did see somebody, but I think they were just, shilling. Not Chris Shilling, but like shilling for PlayStation.
I knew what you meant.
And the thing is, I think it's a $10 bonus extra if you've got it, and you can buy it for like £5 or whatever. It's very, very, very cheap. The game.
Yeah.
It was on PlayStation Plus for ages. And then so
not anymore. It was taken off a few months ago because everyone heard the rumors of this coming.
Gotcha.
And they took it down because they want people to buy this instead.
Well, there we go. That's coming out, and you can play it in fancy. Also, as well, the Hitman. If you own Hitman World of Assassination, you can get the VR version for. I think that's also $10 as well, which I thought was very good.
Nice.
But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. You going to play that again?
No. I platinumed it. This is the first game I platinumed it. It was fine. I quite liked it. I didn't like the sequel. I'm not fussed to play this again. Also, amusingly, it comes out also on Halloween, so the same day as Dragon Age.
And
which is just continuing the meme of Horizon always coming out alongside another game that shows it up. So the first one was Breath of the Wild, the sequel was Elden Ring, and now it's coming out again at the same day as Dragon Age. Like, no. Just no.
It's gonna... Well, to be honest, I don't... Is anybody really... If you've got the urge to go and play Horizon, you might go, hey, you know what? I'll pay the £10 and play the remastered version. But I don't think many people are going to be like, oh, God, I can't wait to go and play Horizon Zero Dawn now.
No, I don't see too many new people jumping on it. And yeah, it's got the nicer graphics from the PS5 version. It's got the new Aloy model from the PS5 version. Although then I keep seeing comparisons and everyone's saying that it's... Do you remember there was the meme of...
Furry.
What?
The one with a woman with hair on her. Not that meme.
No, it wasn't a furry meme.
No, not a furry meme. Like, there was the people that were whinging because Aloy had some facial fluff. And people were like, oh, well you've obviously never seen a woman before.
Yeah, that. And then they're like, oh, this is what she should look like. And they made her, like, ridiculous with, like, loads of makeup on and whatever. And that model, the model they've now put into the remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn, is the same as from the sequel, but it looks like that makeup one because they've changed the lighting and stuff, and it just, I don't know, it looks a bit odd. It looks like they're trying to change her design a bit, which they've said that they haven't, but it looks like they have, just because of the lighting changes. I'm just not bothered by remasters. We do not need a remaster of this game. Like, put your effort in a third game that's good.
We didn't need the remaster of The Last of Us Part 1. Did they do the remaster of Part 2?
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. Come on.
It's Sony. They want some money.
But like, I don't know. It's not needed. Then they announced a Nier Automata DLC for Stellar Blade.
Yeah, which is funny because Stellar Blade is basically trying to be Nier Automata and was very, very heavily inspired by it. And now they've got a full crossover, which, I mean, sure.
Well, Yoko does want everybody to play his game, it seems. Like, he wants it to be in every game.
Yeah, he does.
It's in Astrobot. It's in Final Fantasy XIV. It's in plenty of things.
Nier.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, the better news from this Stellar Blade for me is that they've put the full soundtrack on streaming services.
It's very
which
good.
Is literally like 100 and something tracks long.
Oh, wow.
But the soundtrack to Stellar Blade is probably the best thing about it. So, I'm actually quite enjoying listening to that while I work.
Oh, is that what you're listening to?
I like it.
PlayStation Plus has announced Dead Space, WWE 2K24, whoop whoop, and Doki Doki Literature Club Plus.
Yeah, they're this month's games, basically.
Yeah.
But also, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain and Dino Crisis will be coming to the PS Plus Classics.
And then people can play Dino Crisis and go, oh, why are we all begging for another one?
Says the person who's played Dino Crisis.
I played it a little bit as a kid.
Sure.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh.
I used to think it was, but it was actually the Jurassic Park game on PlayStation, the Jurassic Park demo.
Very different.
I think they're very similar.
I don't think so.
Did you ever play the Jurassic Park game on PS1?
No.
Oh.
I played one on the Mega Drive, which was a bit crap. To be fair, I understand the appeal of Dino Crisis. It's Resident Evil with dinosaurs. Like
okay.
and I'm sure at the time it was great. It's maybe not very good now, but I can understand why people would say, hey, you've done all this great stuff with Resident Evil, do that with dinosaurs and bring back Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
That just makes sense to me.
And then Mark Cerny popped up, telling us about the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Is that your attempt at an impression of him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a strange voice.
Yeah. The Mark Cerny SMR.
Anyway, they talked then about PS5 Pro all over again and the games that are coming out for it. I still don't want one. This did nothing to persuade me.
Oh, I'll get one. And then the last one, the big reveal, Ghost of Yotei is the sequel, or it is the next game from Sucker Punch in the Ghost series.
Yeah, following Ghost of Tsushima.
Which I had no idea that was coming. That was a lovely surprise.
I mean, we knew Ghost of Tsushima 2 was coming.
Did we?
Yeah, they've said that they're working on it. So we sort of knew something was happening. But what we didn't know is that it is called Ghost of Yotei.
Yotei, I think.
And I think I actually really like that.
I think it's Yotei.
Yotei.
Because Shogun has a little line over the O, and that's pronounced O.
Okay.
Unless it's not, and we're just mispronouncing that as well.
I mean, probably.
So
says the two white British guys.
Ghost of Yotei. Well, we can ask. When we go to Japan, we can ask them.
We'll ask everyone on the street.
But Yotei is a beautiful area, and it's a mountain in the north of Japan, very north of Japan.
Hokkaido.
Which is where there is a very good Hitman map. It's where all the rich people
comes back to Hitman.
It's where all the rich people go skiing nowadays, but this is not. However, this is 400 years or so after Ghost of Tsushima, so you can see there's a sword in it. There's a sword in it. There's a gun, I think, in it, or a musket, or
there
kind
was
of thing.
Some sort of gun. It's 1603 or 1605, something like that. I think this is set in. It's also a brand new Ghost, which is cool. I like that they're doing that. It's not a direct sequel of Tsushima with the same character, Jin.
Jin Sakai.
It's a brand new Ghost, and it's a lady this time, which obviously has got all the incels up in arms.
I mean, it's got a couple, but it's also all I'm seeing on Twitter is like, oh, I bet the incels are going to be upset. I bet the incels they're going to be fuming, and I'm like, I see more of those than actual people being upset. Because I think people love Sucker Punch. Like, they love the Ghost. The original Ghost of Tsushima, they loved. And I had some, like, very strong, powerful female side characters. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to find arseholes. But generally, it's very, very positive.
Yeah.
I did love as well how Western it is. And as in Western, as in, like, kind of the Wild West. It's very intentional that it seems that they've made this. Because obviously, it's not all about small islands. This is about like a big, vast area in kind of the center of quite a large part of North Japan. So I think it will be like lots of very open fields that you go through, but also, kind of the Western music mixed with the Japanese one was beautiful. Yeah,
I see that. It feels a little bit more modern as well. As we said, it's a few hundred years later.
And I have two questions. Will Jin be like a tale that is passed through the centuries? Will he get referenced at all in this? Because I don't know, from the end of it, I don't know whether his story will have been passed on or if he's the ghost, he's silent.
Has he become legend?
Is this inspiring her to be the ghost?
I think it would be cool if it links back to the first one, and I would love it if they did that.
Very, very briefly, like tiny bits.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
want
it
to.
doesn't need to be like she is the great granddaughter of,
No.
like no, have a separate story, but just like some subtle links.
I don't want to have found his journal and he's now copying everything. Like that's no.
No. I don't want that.
But also the other question is: are we going to see a cameo from the guy that's in Shogun, the Anjin? Will the Anjin? Because that was literally pretty much the same year.
Yeah, similar period.
The same period.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait for that. It looks gorgeous. That mountain was stunning. The big open plains. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah. I think I would go as far as to say Ghost of Yotei was my favorite thing in the state of play. And I didn't actually like Ghost of Tsushima that much.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I platinumed it. But it was more of one of those like sit back and tick off and just goof around for a little bit. I did like it, but it just took itself a little bit too seriously.
Yeah, it wasn't quite original enough. It was sort of just lots of other games put together. And it was very beautiful, but for me was sort of just fetishizing an ideal of Japan rather than feeling truly authentic. So maybe they've learned a bit from that with this new game. I'm excited to see what more they do. You know, it's clearly an incredibly beautiful game. So at the very least, it's going to show off. And this is also the first one that is from the ground up for PS5. Because Ghost of Tsushima was PS4, and then it was the director's cut on PS5, which was obviously just sort of enhanced. Whereas this is them, you know, they've obviously been working on this for a few years now, directly on PS5. It's going to really show off the power of the console. So it's going to be a really good showcase for that.
It does make me laugh how Assassin's Creed Shadows, that everyone's been begging, was it Shadows? Yeah. Everyone's been begging for an Assassin's Creed set in Japan. Then Ghost of Tsushima came out and everyone's like, oh, this is what we wanted. And then they announced, hey, we're going to have Assassin's Creed Shadows. And literally, yeah, before that, this one's been announced as well. And they pushed back Assassin's Creed Shadows because it sounds like it wasn't a good enough, in a good enough state. And we're at the point, I think we're at the point maybe now with Assassin's Creed where like we don't really care about Japan. We've got Ghost. Like it is very Assassin's Creed-like in its open world, ticking off things, getting bases and stuff. That is very much, you know, that scratches the itch. We don't need it. Go somewhere else.
I would agree. And now that Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed to next year, it's directly competing in the same year as Ghost of Yotei.
Well, we'll see whether it actually does come out in 2025 or not.
Well, it's aiming to. So fingers crossed. I mean, Sony need some good first-party new games to come out because they keep rehashing Horizon and Last of Us and all these other remakes. So it'd be nice for them to have something brand new.
Yeah. Well, next Christmas it'll be Ghost of Yotei and Astrobot Remastered, I'm sure. The big two games.
Not Astrobot Remastered. Come on.
Right. So yeah, that was I'm very excited about that. But also Assassin's Creed Shadows, they announced, or they didn't. Did they announce about the base building thing?
No, it leaked.
It leaked. They leaked about you can like build your own base and walk around it, which I really like the idea of. That's one of the things I really liked about not Nordheim. What's the one by Hooded Horse? The builder. Manor Lords.
Manor Lords, yeah.
Like Manor Lords, you can walk around there first, but I love being able to build something and then walk around it. It's pretty cool. Awesome. So yeah, that was it. Let's go into what we've been playing because yeah, we've been speaking about that for a long time. We both played the Plucky Squire.
We did, and you can watch it now on YouTube.
You can watch the first 2 episodes on YouTube. The third one will be up on Monday.
Okay.
So that, yeah, what did you think to that? What is the Plucky Squire?
What is the Plucky Squire? It is a new indie game. Well, I'll say indie game. It's a new game from a guy who used to be a character designer for Pokemon. I think he was the only Westerner who was designing
I was the first, at least,
actual Pokemon for the Pokemon Company. And he left that to start his own company. And this is their first game called the Plucky Squire. And
he showed me the game last year at Gamescom.
Yeah, you met him.
I met him, and it was me and a guy from, I think, like an esports website for some reason. and kind of he showed us it and explained quite a few things. He was like, "Yep, He said it was 5 or 6 hours long.
And it ended up being just over 7
yeah.
for us. I think the average is around 8 to 10 or something.
Yeah.
I think I read, and we did it in just over 7. It's the Plucky Squire is a very cute little knight character who lives in a storybook, and you play his adventures within the book. However, the book is also that's all 2D, but the book is on the desk of a young boy called Sam. And the Plucky Squire has the magical ability to pop out of the book and explore the real world around the book in order to solve extra puzzles and find new items and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's an action adventure game with lots of puzzles in it that you and I have been very excited about. Ever since they announced it, I was like, this looks really cool, really clever and cute, and a big sort of Zelda influence, which I'm a big fan of, but with lots of other ideas in there thrown together. And it's something that we've both been really looking forward to. So we were very excited to play it.
Yeah, and I wasn't. I think I played the demo, or was it the demo I played then, or
I think there was a demo, yeah.
Because there was the bit where you've got like a Magic the Gathering style or Pokemon card that you do battle with, and then there's one where you're changing the words around to manipulate the book. So instead of the word saying the frog was very big, you can change it to say the frog was very small, whatever, and then you can get past it. So there's that kind of stuff that they showed in the demo, and I was like, this is amazing. This is really genius. And do you think in the main game they managed to kind of be as innovative as that throughout the game?
There are some very innovative and clever ideas that I think they just don't build on enough. Mm-hmm. So, as you said, they have these word puzzles. So it's a storybook, and you find words, and you can swap words in and out of sentences to change the world around you. And you're like, that's a really clever idea. But then they just don't actually use that very much throughout the game. Or there are certain boss fights that do different things. So there's, as you said, the Magic the Gathering card, or there's a boxing thing, or a shoot 'em up, and it sort of plays with genre for different boss fights, which is really cool. But again, it doesn't use those ideas very much. They're sort of one-offs. And I don't mind one-offs. Like we talked about Astrobot last week, and the way that some of the levels has like one idea and it never comes back. And it's really cool for that one level, and it doesn't outstay its welcome. And it's really creative throughout the game. And the Plucky Squire is sort of similar in that it has lots of different ideas that don't necessarily come back. But I really wish that they had, because I think that there are ideas that deserve longer. So for me, I feel like my overall opinion of it is that I feel like it was both too long and too short.
Yeah, I was a little...
Even though it was only 7 hours.
I think though we were pretty much... We kind of did it in 2 streams. So maybe it would have been better if we just done it in kind of 1 hour bursts.
Maybe. I think I would have liked for it to have been longer in the sense of developing its puzzles more and having a bit more substance to it. I really liked what was there, but it was really creative. It deserved, I think, to be more, or for there to be more of it. Equally, it was too long because it just loves to talk.
And they love to explain things multiple times. There were a couple of times where we said, whether it came up with a tutorial, and we're like, yeah, we know you literally explained it about 10 minutes ago. Like,
you've already told us.
Yeah.
Or you come to a new puzzle and I'm already going, yep, we need to do this, and this, and I've worked it out. And then they have to like explain it to you first. And you're like, okay, come on. And the thing is, it's clearly a game for kids. And that's totally fine because kids' games exist. But I think the best kinds of family games, let's say, as for instance Nintendo make, or even Astrobot or something like that, is something that kids can enjoy, but adults can also enjoy. And it's not going to patronize you. And this at times just felt a bit patronizing because it has these clever puzzles where you're popping in and out of the book and turning pages to find things on different pages and mix things up. And that's clever. And I can appreciate that maybe kids might struggle with that a little bit. But as adults, it's and people that play games, to me, it was like, this is really obvious and I don't need my handheld.
Yeah.
So I found that a little bit annoying. That said, it's still a really fun, colorful, creative game. It's really funny in places. It's really charming. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I think it's just I had really high expectations for it.
Yeah, and I think it hit the expectations I was wanting before. There was like, yeah, there were moments where I was a little bit bored, but I'm like, I've been playing it for 4 hours. That's expected. And yeah, I know I genuinely really liked it. And I love the ending as well. I thought that was like the final couple of levels or the final couple of chapters were very interesting.
There were some fourth wall twists.
Yes. And and it doesn't necessarily fall. I don't like games where you can kind of predict what's going to happen next, or if every kind of level or act is kind of just a copy paste of the previous one with maybe a different ability or a different location. It felt that it was really doing new things. And the boss fights I thought were really good fun as well. Even it's one of, like when there's a boss fight where you don't mind too much if you die because it was quite fun doing it. Then those kind of boss fights I really like.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the case for all of them, really.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like it's not a 5 out of 5 game by any means.
What's the Swapping Joysticks review score?
Do we do it out of 10?
Let's do it out of 10, and then we'll do the average. I would give that. Well, I'll go you first because I'm not going to change my number. Mine's locked in.
Oh, locked in and loaded.
Yeah.
I'm sort of between numbers. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10.
My number was an 8 as well.
Oh.
So an 8 out of 10 from Swapping Joysticks.
I was toying with a 7.
I could tell you were, because you're critical. But yeah.
Well, no, I think...
Yeah, negative Nancy.
As much as there were places where it was a little tedious because it loves to talk.
Oh, God. Can you imagine that?
Wow, thanks. But also, I think there's just so much creativity in that game that I think that deserves praise.
There we go. 8 out of 10 from Swapping Joysticks.
There you go.
Right, before we move on to what you've been playing, I have been playing Elder Scrolls Castles.
But are you still playing it?
Oh, no, I deleted it. And that's despite me having another 15 days of Battle Pass.
Now, you threatened to talk about this last week and didn't. So tell people, what is Elder Scrolls Castles?
Well, from looking at it at first, you're like, oh, it's just like Fallout Shelter, because it's kind of side of a building with various levels and rooms, and there are little people in there, and you can assign them to do various jobs, and you can send them out to go on quests. So it's very much like Fallout Shelter in that way. And then, you unlock, as you're kind of doing various quests or doing various activities, like making wool or making silver or whatever, or food or oil, then you get XP for that. And as you get more XP, you unlock various things. So you can start building, you can start making your own armor, or you can start making your own clothes, or you can make your own tools for people to do their jobs even faster. And it's very much that kind of cycle base management type of game. But also, it has the thing where you can send them out. Now, I never played Fallout Shelter that much, but this, you can send a group of up to 3 people out, and then you can go and do quests. Now, the quests are pretty much, when it's just battles. It's not quests. It's literally they go out and you do battles. I think I did 50. I got past level 50, but when you're doing that, you choose which 3 people to take based on their stats. You give them their armor, you give them the weapon, and everybody's weapon has a specific skill to it. And that's really the only thing that you control. You can control where they go, but it's kind of an auto battler.
So they battle themselves.
They battle themselves, and then you can press certain things when you want to use. Like, for example, if you're fighting a big boss, and you can see it's about to do something, then you can press the shield. If one of them's got a shield spell, you can press that just before it's hitting. So you've still got a little bit of control. But there's definitely a lot of RNG in that. But no, that was quite fun. But yeah, just the base management game.
So, sorry, the quest, is that just to get resources, or is there a story?
You get resources, you can unlock some stuff. So like your blacksmith at the start, I think will only get iron. But then if you get to a certain level in the boss, of a certain level on the quests, you can unlock steel. And then silver, I think, is later, and that stuff. So yeah, as you're doing, you do get quite a lot of resources. But the majority of the resources you make in your castle. So you'll assign various people to various rooms, and then they all work together, and you can choose what they make. So if there are 3 people in the mill area, I think it is, or the weaver area, I don't know. There's one where they're making wool, for example, and then you can choose. Well, do they make wool or do they make something else? I can't remember what it is.
Another fabric?
Like a basic fabric.
Okay.
And
Clothes?
but then you have people in the clothes area, in the whatever it's called. And I spent a lot of time playing this and I still can't remember any of the names. There's Millery or whatever. But then, you can choose what clothes to wear. So you can be like, okay, make a weaver's outfit. And they'll make a weaver's outfit, and it'll take like 3 minutes, but you can speed it up with a potion or by watching an advert and that kind of stuff. And then the more of those you make, you can kind of fuse 3 of them together to get a higher level with better stats. So it's just constant wanting you to kind of log into the game and click on things to claim them and then get them to do other stuff so that you get better and better. Right? Totally free to play. And it's on mobile. I got the battle pass just because it was like £12. And I'm like, you know what? I was about 6 hours in and thought, I'm actually quite enjoying it. And the battle pass does a horrible thing though, where it'll only unlock the last 6 levels. So I was at like level 20.
What do you mean?
So it'll only unlock the gifts or the rewards from the previous 6 levels. It won't unlock everything. So you pretty much have to have the battle. It's kind of it plays on your desire to not miss out on stuff, so it makes you want to get the battle pass early. Because if I was on level 20 and I bought the battle pass, then I only got the rewards from level 14 up to 20, and then whenever I hit them.
Oh, but you will have missed out on.
So I missed the first one.
Right. Okay, that makes more sense.
Which I thought was a bit shady and very much like you want to buy it now? Go and buy it now. And I don't know. It just felt like I was going in. I got to a point where I'd unlocked all of the different types of rooms. So all the things that were being unlocked were just kind of like, here's a blessing that gives plus 3% to your worker's speed or whatever. And it wasn't really unlocking anything quite exciting. And they're always coming up with like special events. Here's a special event. You just completed a special event. So here's another one. And you've just got to kind of tick off. And I felt I was getting a little bit addicted to it, but with not much reward.
A little bit addicted? You were sitting in bed playing it for hours.
I probably got about 20 hours on it, maybe 18.
In the space of a week?
A week and a half.
That's so quite I was a lot for a mobile game.
Well, the great thing is it destroyed my phone battery, so I couldn't play it that much.
Is that why you deleted it, or did you actually decide it's shit?
I wasn't getting anything from it that was, I wasn't getting as much enjoyment from it at the start. Because at the start you unlock cool new things that are like, oh wow, I can make my own weapons now. I don't need to go and like find them or get them in other ways. And then it's like the limited time events kept coming, and they had some really cool things. Like if you completed these things, then you'd get some really powerful daggers that would then pretty much destroy any enemy. And I'm like, wow, cool, I want that. But it was just the most repetitive stuff that required you to go in all the time to the game, because you'd set everything going, but all the timers would be like 5 minutes or 4 minutes to go. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit here watching.
But there are a lot of timers.
Everything's on a timer.
Yeah, that's not for me.
And and to be honest, there's so many things happening that you can pretty much, there's always something to like collect, or like on your throne, you can choose, you make, which we'll talk in a second about how it is like Elder Scrolls, but like the thing is really, you are the ruler on the throne and you're making all of these decisions. And at the very, very start, the ruler dies, and then you pick one of the 3 people to succeed them. And then you've got to kind of stay on the throne by pleasing people. So you make decisions all the time that pop up, and resolving disputes and deciding what to do with various things. And so there's quite a lot of that happening. She never died. I picked the lady, obviously. So I was a queen, but I was like a really good leader. So I was keeping
Queen
everybody.
Big Gus?
No, I can't remember her name, but she was the queen. But there's like lots of people coming up and being like, hey, this guy is, your heir is not good. I'm actually a much better heir. Can you pick me instead? So there's often things like that. Or there is a blight that is affecting the grain, blah, blah, blah. and you can choose whether to burn it all, or if you harvest it, or if you leave it. And if you leave it, then there's a blight, and you have to do 15 various things ticking off, and it's just lots of numbers, lots of ticking off, lots of like a million different things. Like eventually at the end, I just had so many things. It was like craft 6 weaver's garbs at level 3 or more, and it was just all of that. And I don't know, it was a game that just constantly wanted all of your time all the time. And I quite like a game that would be like that, but maybe they do have a special event where they're very, like a special event where you have to do quite a few different things, but maybe like one a week, not one every 3 days, just because I finished the previous one. I'd like one that everybody's doing maybe at the same time. It just felt like they were wanting me to go in all the time. And every time I leveled and got something on the battle pass, the second you claim it, it comes up with like, hey, do you want to buy this one for £20, this pack? Or this pack's only available.
Not interested in that.
Yeah, it just felt that it was...
It's very
much
very shallow and money grabbing.
It's a game that is just only exists to make money, and you can enjoy it without spending any money. I did watch far too many ads. Oh my God, there's some of the ads with the most atrocious things. Yeah. There's somebody, like, I hate the ads that are obviously recorded by some random person on their own phone, and they're probably being paid about 25 quid to do it. And it's somebody being like, hey, do you want to get paid for playing video games? Go and download this app. And this app, you go and choose what game you want to play, and they will pay you for it. And I remember just thinking, and like that was pretty much 50% of the ads was that one. And nice. I'm like, no. And it's just some random crap that's some kind of quality, some game tester type people are paying you, £1 per hour in Amazon vouchers to test the game or whatever. It's bullshit. So I used to just like close my eyes, and then I would just realize how much of my life I was wasting playing that.
Well, I'm glad that you deleted it and you're never going to play it again.
No, I downloaded.
So you wouldn't recommend it to the listeners?
Yeah, I would. I think you should play it. I genuinely like play it until you've play like the first 10 hours, I would say, or 8 hours maybe. First 8 to 10 hours you can play and enjoy without spending any money. It just then maybe I think I do have an addictive personality, but I think at that point when it tries to get so much from you but doesn't give you anything really special, then I'm like, no. Like if you're wanting all my time, then make it really exciting and fun, where that didn't. But yeah, anyway, I downloaded Marvel Snap instead.
Oh, great. Well, that's you for the rest of eternity.
I love Marvel. Marvel Snap is great. And that I buy the season pass, but I have absolutely no interest in buying anything else. And it always gives me loads of extra currency, of like premium currency that just from the game, just from playing the game. Like, for example, you buy in Marvel Snap, you buy things. Everything you buy in Marvel Snap pretty much it's very, very much like a cosmetic only game when it comes to buying stuff. I think the season pass gives you the season card. So like if you really want that card, then technically that's like buying it. But you can get absolutely everything in that game, as far as I'm aware, for free.
Yeah.
Like you could, if you played that game like 24/7, pretty much everything you get, you could play. Because you get gold as well. So just by doing kind of like the daily quests or whatever, they'll give you like a tiny bit of gold. And that gold is a premium currency that you can use in the store to pretty much buy anything. I don't think there's nothing that you can only buy with money, and every other currency you can earn. And like I said, it's all 100% just a kind of cosmetic thing. So, because you've never paid for anything on Marvel Snap, have you? And you're like level 3,000 or something.
I wouldn't. No, not that high.
You know?
No, God no. No, I haven't spent a penny on it. I enjoyed it, and yeah, you can get far enough. You get a lot further, a lot more quickly, if you start paying for the battle pass and gaining more resources.
Yeah,
but you don't have to.
And there's lots of new stuff, and there's a really cool season at the moment, which is like all Spider-Man stuff, who is the best. But yeah, I'm level 5,849.
Such a nerd.
Thing is, I learn about Marvel through it, so I know Carnage, I know Magic with a K. I know all these people thanks to this.
Would you know their stories, their
No,
histories?
I don't care about that. I just care that
So
they
you
look
just
quite
recognize
cool.
a name.
Yeah, and playing the game, I mean, it does. Like, I don't. The thing is, even if you lose, you don't. You still get like some boosters in the game, because once you get certain boosters, you can kind of level up your cards. But even if you lose, you do that. But like, there's nothing better than somebody like they call snapping. Somebody snapping, which is kind of like putting all your chips in to kind of gamble, and somebody snapping because they think they've won, and then you've got a trick up your sleeve to kind of win at the last minute. Although as well, every single time I go in, I always mute the other person because otherwise, I mean, they're just using emotes, but it winds me up. Like, there's an emote where it's like, like kind of screw you kind of emote that people have started using to be like, fuck you. And I don't ever want to see that. So I immediately mute them. But then I do emotes though. You know, the fist bump kind of, I do that one if it was a good game. I did that earlier with somebody that beat me who was very intelligent with their play.
Oh. So you've gone from one addictive mobile game to another that you were already playing anyway.
Yeah, but Marvel Snap is one that you can quickly go in and do a couple of dailies if you want. You don't miss out on anything because the season pass, they have...
And how long have you played it each day?
Oh, lately a fair bit because I want to play it because I enjoy it. But
sure.
Yeah, you can... The thing is though, the season pass, and I used to do this and I might end up doing this again. The season pass, it like unlocks missions, and once you complete those missions, or you complete those things like discard 15 cards or, you know, destroy 2 cards or whatever, or gain boosters, you can get all of those in like the last day of the season if you want to. So it might be over 4 or 5 weeks, but you could literally go and just do everything in the last week and unlock it all.
I'll just say goodbye to you at that point and you can have fun on your phone.
But it doesn't, no, not really, because you're kind of ticking off multiple missions at the same time when you're going through them. So it doesn't make any difference. It's quite easy to get to the max level of each season. Anyway, that was a lot of mobile game talk. Go and play Marvel Snap. It's brilliant.
But not Elder Scrolls Castles.
Well, just for a little bit. Get Elder Scrolls Castles for a little bit once you've unlocked everything, and then go to Marvel Snap. Or just play Fantasia.
Yeah, play Fantasian. That's really good.
You said you were playing Black Myth Wukong?
Yeah, I've been playing it for a few weeks. I haven't really talked about it on the podcast much. And I think I'm going to stop it now.
Right now?
Right now.
I mean, did you want to save... Do you want to play a bit more off stream and then save?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing it off stream. I'd like to finish it because I've put enough time into it now. I am deep into chapter 3.
Oh.
I think there's 6. So what I've heard is that the third one is particularly long and a bit of a slog. But it's
like Death Stranding.
I've just found it. The more I play it, the more disappointed by it I am, and that's a real shame because I was really looking forward to playing Wukong. We played it at Gamescom last year, really enjoyed it. I played it at a preview a few months ago, really enjoyed it then as well. The combat felt really tight. It was beautiful. I loved the boss designs. But then once you put that into the context of the full game, it has, for me, just become really tedious. The combat doesn't develop very much. You get different spells you can use. You have different stances for your weapon. But none of that really meaningfully changes combat. You know, you're not suddenly going like in Devil May Cry or Bayonetta where you get loads of different weapons that give you different movesets and combos, or you know, a Souls game where you can change your build and get all these different weapons and styles and magic and change everything around. It feels much more linear than that, and I'm totally fine with like a linear game because everyone was saying, oh, this is going to be a Souls-like, and it's not. It's not a Souls-like. It is a fairly linear action RPG with some cool combat. And I'm totally down for that. But at like 30 to 40 hours long, it's really drawn out. And it's become really quite tedious. On top of that, between the bosses are great, but I'm finding myself using the same tactics every time. Because I've worked out what sort of works for each one. And it's just become a bit repetitive. Maybe that's down to me for not changing things up enough, but it's really easy to just use the same tactics repeatedly. And then there's just not enough reason to explore between the bosses. It's a really beautiful world, but there are all these invisible walls everywhere that stop you from fully exploring. There's no map, so it's really hard to find your way around, and everything looks quite similar. So I don't think the level design is particularly good. So when it's you against the boss, it's great, and that's where the game is at its best. And the combat feels tight. The boss designs are really cool. So that's really fun, but it's just all the bits around that are just padding out this game into something that's so much longer than it needs to be. The storytelling is practically non-existent, which again is going for that soulsy, subtle lore kind of stuff. There are cutscenes, and there are characters chatting away, but I think unless you really know Journey to the West, which is the novel it's based on, I'm totally lost in the storyline. It's not very good at telling the story. It just assumes that you know it. And hey, maybe I'm now going to go and read the novel or find out more about it, and maybe that's a good thing. So I sort of really enjoyed it at first, but I'm really falling off it. I want to finish it just to say I've ticked it off, but it has not grabbed me long term, which is a shame because it had a lot of potential. And for me, it just hasn't really lived up to those expectations.
Oh, that's a pity. Should we see what other people have been playing?
Let's
finish off with that.
Let me just open Discord.
Any other news we will maybe keep for next week? Or, I mean, I don't think there was anything extra.
I mean, the state of play was the big thing of the week.
Yeah, and Assassin's Creed Shadow's been delayed.
Yep.
And the new Zelda reviews are up.
They are. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe, I don't know if we'll be able to play it before next week, but maybe we'll have that to talk about soon, which will be good.
Yeah.
Or maybe some of you lot will play it, and then you can tell us what you think about it.
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers. So, Moni, like many others, I played the Plucky Squire over the weekend. Initially, I really loved it and it felt right up my street. I played in story mode because, of course. I finished it in Sunday, and in the last few days after playing it, I actually got progressively more annoyed with it. I played it on Switch, and it actually didn't feel great when controlling it. Stuff like flipping the pages never actually worked quite right. Sometimes the book just randomly flipped 10 pages, even though I wasn't even standing next to it.
I feel like it was a little bit like that with us, a little bit
buggy.
Moving the page was a bit buggy, yeah.
Overall, it felt not very precise. Granted, I suck at games, so it surely is a me issue also. But while the story mode made all the enemies so easy that I thought of switching to adventure mode, which is the normal one, which you can't actually do mid-playthrough.
Oh, wow.
That's annoying. The minigames were really awful at parts, and it felt like the controls weren't actually reacting when I needed them to, which made me skip them at the very end of the game. The story I found cute, but it felt more like a game for kids than anything else, which is fair, and I guess a lot of games are, but it felt a bit infantilizing at times. I do like the core idea of it a lot, and the switching between 2D and 3D and different styles was so great, but the execution could have been a bit better and smoother. I'm a bit bummed that I didn't love it as I thought I would when I started it. So I'm blaming it a bit for teasing me in the beginning and then letting me down this hard.
Well, hopefully for every game like that, you'll have another one that surprises you at how good it is.
Yeah, exactly. Pete Random, I'm still playing Star Wars Outlaws about 25 hours in. I know the general consensus has not been great, but I'm loving it.
A lot of people love it now. I think it's turned into a bit of a weird thing where everyone really likes it.
I think the beginning of the game is not great, and it takes a while to get into it. That's what I felt once I played more of it, and it is also a bit buggy, and the performance isn't great. So hopefully they'll patch some of that.
Yeah.
Stealth is simple, but that doesn't bother me. Platforming is signposted and restrictive, but that doesn't really bother me. What I'm enjoying is a brilliant vibe, great environments, a story I actually want to see through to the end, and a reputation system that I'm enjoying playing along with. You can easily game it to buddy up with everyone, but I've made enemies, and I'm choosing not to fix that. Each to their own in the world of video games, eh? Absolutely. And that's why we like to hear from you.
Like that idea. Maybe I will play it at some point, but I'll wait for them to patch it. I'm not in a rush.
Yeah. Madam Knees, I turned 30 today. Happy birthday. So I treated myself to a PS5 and 3 games. God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, and Horizon Zero Dawn.
What would your order of those be?
I would say Spider-Man 2 top, then God of War, then Horizon.
Without being exactly the same, yes, the same.
There we go. Already finished the main story of God of War 2. Now, when you say you turned 30 today, so you treated yourself to a PS5, I'm presuming the PS5 came a while ago. If you've
Yeah, I'm pretty
completed
sure.
one of these games.
I remember them saying they got it a while ago.
Yeah. I was like, hang on, you finished this in a day. Right, already finished the main story of God of War 2 and had an incredible time. Phenomenal graphics, a nice evolution of combat mechanics. I love the spear from the first one and enjoyed the chance to play as Atreus. What really made it for me was the heart-wrenching performances across the cast, with a particular shout out to Richard Schiff's Odin. The one minor criticism which has been present in basically everyone's review is the hint timing for puzzles is way too short.
Which they fixed.
They have fixed that. Well, they fixed it on the PC release, which is this week. And that, I believe, is coming soon to consoles. I don't know if it's out yet, but it is coming soon. Spider-Man 2, I'm a decent chunk through, and I'm enjoying and disliking similar things to the first. There seems to be a degree of busy work that is frustrating at times, like making you carry victims to the hospital, pointlessly stretching out crime missions. How does New York only have like 5 ambulances? I think that's just America. That's the American healthcare system for you.
Well, if you pay, you get one immediately.
Exactly. The main story missions have been great, cinematic and emotional in equal measure, marred only by a few bugs which have required checkpoint restarts.
Yeah,
Horizon...
There were quite a few bugs when that game first came out. It seems like there's still some.
Horizon, I've barely started, but I'm already sensing the same problems I had with the first. The end of the world is imminent, but you need to hunt rabbits for 5 hours to craft equipment so you're good enough to beat the next boss. Time will tell.
Yeah, I had that with The Witcher 3. It's literally called The Wild Hunt, and you're hunting, well, the Wild Hunt is different, but you're literally hunting Ciri, and it's desperate, and every time you get somewhere, she's just left, but I've also got to go and pick some flowers to make a poison for a person that is dying or whatever.
Well, you've got to be a Witcher.
But I had a thing to do. I've got to go and get Ciri.
It costs money to travel, Ben. You need to earn your keep. Mr. Wibble says, I'm Minecrafted. Nothing new to tell there, really. It's still fun to do. I also started the Plucky Squire, but on PC, which was the same as what we played it on, which is cute and fun and not terribly difficult. I do agree with Moni that it feels like a game that's aimed at a younger audience, which is absolutely fine. PC controls with Xbox controller were pretty decent and responsive. As work currently is just a massive game of Gartic Phone, I've not had much time to play. What is Gartic Phone? Or is that a podcast in itself?
I tried to play it. It's where somebody draws something and then another person has to guess who it is, what it is. I started to try and play it, and then I think I was on the wrong website for it, or I was playing something slightly wrong. I don't know. I messed up.
Oh.
It's a community game.
Okay. I think we've got one more. Yes, which is Gemma, Games Mistress, who says, I've been playing Panorama, which has a little apostrophe after the N, Panorama, which is quite similar to Dwarf Romantic. You have hexagonal tiles that you lay together to create different landscapes, fields or forests or rocky mountains. They grow and shift as you lay the tiles, and you get larger structures like bridges and buildings to build. The idea is that you get bonuses for building larger structures that supply you with more tiles, and the game ends when you run out of tiles. That all sounds very Dwarf Romantic to me. The aesthetic is super pleasing, the landscapes are very beautiful and calming, and as the areas grow, animals and other cute elements appear and start wandering the board. I think it's actually quite beautiful and calming to play, which is my favourite thing about it. However, it seems near impossible to win. I'm not a pro gamer, and I'm not terrible at puzzle games, yet after 50 plus games, I'm still nowhere near winning. It just feels excessively hard, which is, but it's only a minor issue because I played the game for the gameplay. Overall, I've really, really enjoyed it. It does sound quite relaxing. And I feel like that kind of game is meant to just be like super chilled.
If you want a super chilled, relaxing game, I did also play a bit of Tiny Glade.
Oh, yes, that's out this week, right?
Yes, it is out this week. And it's pretty much just you build buildings and it naturally kind of generates in them to make it look pretty. I guess I'll talk about it maybe another time because I think they're adding a few things. So, yeah, if you enjoy just making pretty little villages and buildings and the game, you want the game to kind of just, when you put a big cube down, it turns it into a beautiful kind of stone house. And then you can build like a Rapunzel tower sticking out the side of it. Feel free to do that.
Screenshots, right?
You can take beautiful screenshots. That's like one of the main controls is like, hey, click on camera mode, and you can switch between changing the style of the actual objects to kind of the camera aperture and all this kind of stuff.
I think a lot of people listening will enjoy that game.
Oh, 100%. It's really cheap. It's like £12. I mean, today it's cheap. It is something that you could probably... Some people will get bored after about 3 minutes, and some people will sit there for 3 hours making Rivendell, which I saw somebody had done after 30 hours, I think they'd made. In fact,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. Let's see if I can find it. Obviously, if you're watching this or listening to this at home, you'll have to Google it. But I'm sure Rivendell, what was it called again? Tiny Glade. Where is it? Oh, is this the one? 30-hour Rivendell somebody has made.
Wow.
And
I mean, that is very impressive.
Yeah, and like literally, it's very kind of restrictive in what you can. It's quite restrictive in what you can build in the fact that like you can only make squares and circular buildings, and then you add your own windows and stuff. Like all of these windows that you can see here are pretty much copy pasted.
Okay.
But no, I mean, yeah, it's very impressive what people have done, and I definitely recommend playing it if you just want something to kind of relax with. And yeah, I don't understand how someone can make Rivendell in Tiny Glade. That is quite something.
Yeah. There we go. Tiny Glade.
Yeah.
One to go look out for.
And that video has only got 11,000 views, despite someone putting 30 hours into that time-lapse build. So hopefully that will kind of pop off a bit more.
We'll see.
All right, well, Ed, where can we find you? Because that will be it for today and this week's. Also, as well, we're going to go on Saturday to see the Final Fantasy Rebirth concert, but I do need to go back to Rebirth and start putting up videos of that.
You need to finish that before the end of the year.
I do, and I need people to let me know, because I've been looking, because there's a really annoying subreddit called Let's Play, and it's all about like people sharing their advice for Let's Plays and stuff. And a lot of the advice is just really, really annoying. But one of the things they said is like, you want your Let's Play videos to be less than an hour. And I'm like, no, an hour is what I'll put them up as. But do I like spend a day recording and then upload like 4 a week, but shorter, rather than like hour and a half, 2-hour episodes? So I think I might just do some 1-hour ones and have them up more regularly.
Well, let us know what you prefer.
Yeah, let us know. Ed, where can we find you?
You can find me at ed_nights, pretty much everywhere. Twitch,
Excellent.
Twitter, Threads, etc.
And I am Biggest Bennis. If you find me on Twitter, Biggest Bennis1. But yeah, check out my Twitter and Threads and whatever, because that will be where the link is for the fundraisers. We've got some exciting streams ahead. We've got a VR stream tomorrow. There might be a baking stream at some point. There's all sorts, but I'll keep you updated on Twitter, obviously on stream and in Discord. And also next week, I'm sure I'll give you an update.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Thank you very much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.